Good evening. Welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. Tonight you're with me, Rungtip Chonapalai. It has been more than a week of misery for communities near the Chi River in the northeastern province of Thailand as they struggle to carry on with their daily life under several feet of floodwater. Meanwhile, water from Sakka province and nearby Khao Yai National Park is causing 2-meter deep floods in parts of Kabinburi district in Prachinburi province. Residents living in the Talat Kao community in Kabinburi sub-district of Prachinburi province have had to move to the second floor of their houses to commute to and from work by boat as nearly 2-meter deep floods have inundated the area. Flood levels also continue to rise in the Kabinburi Fresh Market. Currently 60 villages in 10 sub-districts of Kabinburi have been inundated. Water has flowed into Si Mahapo district and the municipal area of Prachinburi province, causing transport problems. Roads in the area are nearly 20 centimeters underwater. In eastern Thailand, heavy rain continues in the disaster zones of 4 districts in Chonburi province. Water in the districts of Pantong and Panatnikom reached depth of 1.5 meters. Residents are having to live on the raised roads to stay dry and are running short of food and clean water. As the floods start to recede in parts of northern Thailand, Sakalin Pienwong, governor of Sukhothai province, joined a ceremony to pay respect to King Ramkhamhaeng's ancestors, who residents in Sukhothai province believe to be their guardians. Water levels in the Yom River have fallen to 4 meters. Water levels also dropped in Sawankhalok, Si Samrong, and the municipal district, while the low-lying basin of Kongkairat district remains flooded. The water level in the Yom River overflowed the banks from Sukhothai and Phitsanulok province to Phichit province, causing more floods 30 meters deep in some places of Wangchit sub-districts of Phopatap Chang district. 1,600 families in 4 districts and 11 sub-districts in Phichit province are facing difficulties. Dr. Sakchai Chai Mahapluk, head of the Disease Prevention Control Department in Phitsanulok, is warning residents of widespread leptospirosis during the floods, and an epidemic of the disease is expected between August and November. People are advised to wear gloves, boots, or use plastic bags to cover their shoes when walking through flood water, and to take a shower as soon as possible after being in contact with the flood water. It has been more than a week that communities near the Chi River of Chayapum in the northeast have been inundated, affecting residents' daily life. Students in Ban Lahan School of Chaturat district had to use boats to go in and out of the community. In nearby Chayapum province, municipal offices from Mahasarakam province had to open 6 water drainage gates to release water coming in from the Chi River in Chayapum. Today, Deputy Transport Minister Chachad Sithipan announced that 7 companies have qualified to submit proposals to design and construct flood prevention projects under the government's 350 billion baht mega projects. The minister said a total of 34 companies and groups of companies had expressed interest in developing conceptual designs for the projects. Those companies that did not pass the initial qualification process do still have the right to file an appeal at Government House before the end of business tomorrow. The final decision will be announced on Monday. The 7 that have already qualified are Korea Water Resources Corporation, ITD Power, China JV, comprising 5 companies, Summit SUT joint venture comprising 3 companies, Team Thailand joint venture comprising 8 companies, China CAMC Engineering Company Limited, Japan Thailand joint venture comprising 11 companies, and consortium TKC Global comprising 16 companies. The qualified companies now have to submit draft conceptual plans with budgetary and construction details by November 23rd. The government will decide by March 15th, 2013 which bidders will be awarded contracts, but the final results will be subject to cabinet approval. Chachat, who is the spokesman for the Water and Flood Management Commission, said the selection process had been transparent and within the criteria set by the commission. The investigation into the murders of 13 Chinese seamen on the Mehkong River on October the 5th last year is finally showing signs of progress after Mehkong, a major drug dealer apprehended by Chinese authorities and interrogated by a Chinese court, confessed that he was the mastermind but tried to push the blame onto Thai military officers. China CCTV News show images of Mehkong, who has been arrested and taken to appear before the Central People's Court. Mehkong is alleged to have murdered 13 Chinese seamen, abducted and hijacking 2 Chinese ships on October the 5th last year, and to be a major drug dealer. The Chinese report noted that Mehkong, 44 from Myanmar, testified in Shan language and confessed that he masterminded the murders before trying to implicate Thai military officers who believed that the Chinese ship was transporting drugs. The convict said he killed the Chinese sailors out of revenge because the 2 Chinese ships were carrying Myanmar military officers to attack his military base. Among the 2 raided ships, one contained onions and apples, while the other contained fuel. The murder took place when the ship docked at Ban Sompu near the Golden Triangle in Chiang Rai province on the Myanmar border. Before the ship sailed again to nearby Ban Sobruak, Thai authorities then stopped the vessels and inspected the cargoes, discovering the dead bodies in the process. The inspection also found a weapon and 920,000 amphetamine pills. Mehkong was later arrested in Laos on April 25, 2011. The main witness in the case is the Chinese captain who survived the shootings. After the incident, Chinese authorities pressurized Thailand to investigate the case quickly, which has since resulted in the prosecution of 9 Thai military personnel. Recently, Police General Pansiri Prapawat, the Deputy National Police Chief, revealed that Thai authorities will be testifying before the Chinese court tomorrow. He believes that Mehkong's confession will assist the prosecution of 9 Thai military officers. The Thai authorities will also ask the Chinese court to extradite Mehkong to be prosecuted in Thailand. Yesterday, U.S. lawmakers, united by their respect of Myanmar democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi, presented her with Congress' highest civilian honor in a ceremony in the Capitol Rotunda ahead of a meeting with President Barack Obama. Suu Kyi described it as one of the most moving days of her life. Here's more from Hugh Adam.
Suu Kyi was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in 2008 while under a 15-year house arrest for her peaceful struggle against military rule. Her long-awaited visit to America finally provided an opportunity for her to receive the honor in person in Congress's most majestic setting, beneath the dome of the Capitol, and ringed by marble statues of former presidents.
This is one of the most moving days of my life, to be here in a house undivided, a house joined together to welcome a stranger from a distant land. Yet I do not feel myself to be a stranger, for I see many familiar faces, and faces that are new to me, but known through what they have done for my country and for our cause.
Previous recipients of the medal include George Washington, Tibetan Buddhist leader the Dalai Lama, and Pope John Paul II. House and Senate leaders joined Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton in paying tribute to Suu Kyi. Speaker after speaker marveled that this was a moment they thought they would never see. Suu Kyi before them, not only free, but herself now a lawmaker. Buddhist monks in saffron robes and women in traditional Burmese dresses crammed into the venue alongside members of Congress, who set aside the intense rivalries ahead of the November 6th election. When sanctions against the Myanmar junta were imposed, and over the past year when they've been suspended, Democrats and Republicans alike have set aside their increasingly bitter differences to pass and renew legislation annually. That is due in large part to their respect for Suu Kyi. Lawmakers who have spoken or met with her, and even those who haven't, speak of her in reverential terms. Her photo adorns some office walls in Congress, and her views have been critical in shaping US policy toward the country also known as Burma, while speakers paid tribute to Suu Kyi's resolve in the face of oppression. A spirit of reconciliation in Myanmar also pervaded the ceremony. Recognition of its recent dramatic political changes after 5 ruinous and bloody decades of authoritarian rule. Hugh Adams, Thai PBS.
Thank you, Kun Hugh. The Ayutthaya Historical Park is one of Thailand's 3 cultural heritage sites. Although the issue of modern buildings blocking archaeological infrastructure has been addressed, the problem of conveying the value and significance of the cultural sites to visitors remains and needs immediate attention so that this World Heritage Site can continue to serve as a lasting source of knowledge for future generations come.
A passionate interest in the unique culture and tradition of foreign countries was the charm that prompted Kashuma Futame's visit to Thailand, a place that is home to an ancient UNESCO World Heritage Site, Ayutthaya. While the sight of a Buddha's head sculpture in the Ayutthaya Historical Park may ignite a spark of inspiration, Japanese captions that merely give the name of the statue and warnings to tourists rather than detailed information on the history of the exhibit caused much disappointment, as Kachuma was hoping to learn about the history of the sculpture in front of him.
Different from place because, for example, Italy.
The Japanese backpacker says World Heritage Sites in other countries, especially in Italy and England, have encyclopedic information at their cultural sites for international tourists to study, unlike Thailand, which is full of beautiful attractions but lagging in information for foreign visitors.
การอธิบายประวัติหรืออะไรนี่ไม่มีนะครับมีแต่เขียนเป็นป้ายไว้นะครับ
The security officer says there are no explanations about the history of the archaeological site, only signs of caution for visitors. Security officers like him are only responsible for ensuring that tourists do not breach any regulations. Pamphlets that describe the location and provide brief background information on these archaeological treasures are everywhere, but since they are only available in a limited number of languages, these booklets offer little help to tourists who choose to travel alone and whose language is not included. It is not just foreigners who feel neglected. Locals also think that the park lacks detail. Schools bring their students to the ancient city on excursions, hoping that they will gain a better understanding about their motherland, rather than just reading history books. But this group of students says the trip is not very informative.
เขาก็บอกแค่ว่าสถานที่นี้มันชื่อว่าอะไรมีความเป็นมาอย่างไรแค่เล็กน้อยแต่ว่าไม่ได้อธิบายว่า
The student says she only learned a little bit about the background of the historical park, and that there were no explanations about how and why the ancient city was built. As a result, she is not very impressed and was left with the impression that the site is becoming less and less significant. Ancient structures alone are not enough to convey the profound significance of the 417-year-old historical park. A method of communication for both locals and foreigners is needed to explain its historical value, so that this World Heritage Site will remain a lasting source of knowledge for future generations.
And finally, this Saturday, ThaiPBS is organizing a talk show event entitled ASEAN Beyond 2015. The guest speakers, which includes educators, celebrities, and members of the media, will address the issue of whether the younger generation of Thais is ready for the AEC. The event will take place in Building D at ThaiPBS Studio Center on Vipavadi Rangsit Road this Saturday, September 22nd, from midday to 4 p.m. For more information, please check out our website or call 02-790-2396. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. Thank you for watching. I'm Rungtip Chonapalai. Have a good night. Sawadee ka.